Hi everyone. Hi, this is Shuvo from Real Talk with Shuvo. So today we have an exciting guest with us. So we will be with you another 3 to 4 minutes, and I will see you shortly. Hi everybody. Yes, welcome to another edition of Real Talk with Shuvo. So today we have an exciting guest, as I mentioned earlier, and so you are in for a treat, and there will be a lot of value in this session. So I am the CEO of Success Zante. We are one of the world-class training provider, and we work with Tony Robbins, T. Harv Eker, all world-class speakers all around the world. And we wanted to now a lot of uncertainty around us at this point, and we wanted to create a certainty for our audience. And one of the way we give that is share with the audience that what's happening around us in the industry in different sectors. So today we have a dear friend, and who has definitely been a very good contributor in my own development, right? Let's start the conversation. Randula, can we have your presence, please? Randula, are you there?
Hello, Shuvo.
Hi. How are you?
Hi,
Good to see
very
you.
well, thank you. Very good to see you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this lovely lady. So, as I was saying, that she has contributed in my self development. Now, I have known her for last more than 12 years, and so for me, I always believe environment is more important than willpower, and who you hang out with is very important, and that have an impact in your life. So, this is the lady who has helped me to look at the positive side of my life. Randula, thank you very much for that. And we were having a chat that that she's doing a lot of wonderful work around the realm of entrepreneurship. And I was telling her that I'm not surprised that she's doing this, and she's actually born to do this. So let me just give you a quick introduction of Randula, who she is. Now she's the CEO of Hatchworks. It's one of the best co-working space you can be a part of. And she's the director of Good Life Accelerator, which is an awesome really impactful program for entrepreneurs, startups and SMEs, and she will share more about that in a while. And she is a change agent, above all, a really good human being who'd love to help others. I have never seen a person who love to help others so much, right? So with that, Randula, thank you very much for joining us. So my first question, before I ask you the question, now there is this popular speaker and author, Robert Schuller. So he said that tough times never last, but tough people do. Right? Tough times never last, but tough people do. So with that, I would like to ask you, currently, what are the 3 most burning challenges entrepreneurs are facing at the moment, in your opinion?
Yeah, thanks, Shuvo. I'm overwhelmed still by your introduction, but we'll jump right into the question. Thank you for being so very kind. And I think all that I can say about you is amplified to what all that you said about me, everything that you do to people, even during the COVID time. It's amazing. So always inspired by you as well. Jumping into your question, what are the challenges? So I think going by theory, going by the book, and what's discussed quite a bit across very many panels, especially during this time across the world, we have things like access to finance, the short-term small issues that all SMEs and entrepreneurs have to deal with these challenging times, be it HR, be it operations, and the changing dynamics to the work environment overall, and having very small reserves, especially in terms of SMEs and startups. These are all challenges, but I think I'd like to look at it in a different perspective. If we take a look at this time, like you very correctly said, Shuvo, it's completely uncertain. And I think how to deal with that uncertainty, how do we respond, how do we adapt? I think that is, for me, one of the very main challenges that aren't discussed often enough in that light itself as a challenge. And how do we really...
Randula, you're muted.
Sorry, yeah. And then I think another massive challenge is not responding fast enough. We go into a paralysis by overanalyzing things. It's also unprecedented time. Nobody really knows how to respond. We adapt as we go, we learn as we go. And the most important thing is to get moving with short, small steps. But most of entrepreneurs, out of fear, really freeze in one place and not react, not respond, and you just freeze. And that, I think, is the worst thing that you can do to yourself as a business. And that is a massive challenge, coming out of that fear mentality and taking small steps towards whichever direction you think is right, and then adapting to whatever that you encounter in that path, and then changing your course, navigating your course. These are really massive challenges I think any entrepreneur faces right now, that's not spoken often enough.
Okay, great, brilliant. So if you can summarize in short, so what would be 3 challenges, if you could just repeat those 3?
Oh, okay. So I would say adapting to changing times, adaptability, moving forward, not paralyzing yourself by conducting over-analysis, but taking small steps, and learning fast.
Learning fast, yes.
Yeah.
And if you really look at it, there are a lot of learning happening at this point. I mean, and because there are so many changes, the supply chain, the finances, the HR.
Yeah.
So everybody is reinventing. And you correctly said, I thought that was correctly mentioned, that it's not about giving up, it's about reinventing the wheel and then reinventing the business model. That
Exactly.
the first people who are definitely they will be there. They will be surviving. Yeah.
Exactly.
Actually, they will be thriving in the future. So Randula, my next question is, you see, my next question is 92% of the economy is fueled by SME sector. Now, given the present situation, do you think there will be a decline in the contribution? No, last week we had another gentleman, Glenn Dodd, he's a part of Business Network International. So we were dealing with that, this is such a big contribution for the SME sector. So do you think this will, going forward, given to the present situation, there will be a decline in the contribution, or it will increase? What do you think? What's going to happen?
I think now it's a given that all economies are going to be affected adversely. Recovery, there's so much of argument about how the recovery curve will look like. Will it be a U, a swoosh, or would it be? And overall, in general, for us as an emerging market, of course, the SME sector would be very deeply affected. And I think recovery of it, for it to actually continue in its contribution, or to expand in its contribution, or recover from this hit overall, a lot of things really come to play. The enabling environment that's created by the regulatory authorities, as well as financing and investments facilities that comes into play by various parties, and also the business acumen, the business resilience overall in terms of responding to this challenge, all comes to play that will affect this contribution, whether it's towards growth or not. But I think there's anyway going to be a hit, but who will survive and come out of it stronger is what's at play, and is a larger question. And the silver lining through all of this is the fact that it gives the opportunity for SMEs and entrepreneurs to really look at their business again, reanalyze, reinvent certain things to really leapfrog into the future. And also the other fact is that we're not alone. It's a global crisis. There's a lot of synchronies that you can really reach out to and connect the dots to make an opportunity out of it if you're looking at the right direction and talking to the right kind of people. So it's a difficult time, but how do we make an opportunity out of it? How do we seize the silver lining in this situation and really go towards the growth that our country was at in January, before all of this started, is a large question that we really need to work towards together.
Got it. So as long as we take action, so definitely there will be a positive impact.
Yeah. I always see the positives.
Right, so grow the economy, and then going forward, we require to do that a lot. I believe. Great. So you always see the positive. Why I'm not surprised. Now, okay, what is the role that is coming towards the entrepreneur? What do you think that would be the role entrepreneur would play? And before answering that question, there are new viewers who has joined us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're with Randula over here from Co-works, and then she's the director of Good Life Accelerator. If you have any questions, she's the lady to talk to. So please go ahead and ask question, and she'll definitely definitely do justice to the question. What is the role of entrepreneur in the future world?
Sure. Can you hear me? I think there's some interruption in the line. Okay, perfect.
I can hear you.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. So your question was, what is the role of an entrepreneur in the future world? I really think COVID is a blessing in its disguise. It brought in a lot of time for people to analyze, reflect as to what they were really doing, and even understand how they were going to get about doing what they were doing. So I think the most important role, I'll keep it really very short. In one sentence, the role of an entrepreneur in future is to really solve meaningful problems. We have enough of problems in the world, and an entrepreneur, I think, really should be solving meaningful problems. I don't believe that there can be a world in future where businesses are there to only create more and more profit and generate wealth. It needs to be businesses that generate profit while really having people and planet at their core and solving meaningful problem for future generations. So I think if we all can work towards that objective, I don't think we'll have to live with all the agonies that we are living with right now in years to come.
Brilliant. Nicely said. It's so true that entrepreneurs are there to solve problems. I mean, relate to that. I have a friend called CK Kumaravil. So he's the owner of Natural Salon. They own the largest chain of salons in India. They have 750 salons. So he always says that entrepreneurs are the new age freedom fighters, right? Yeah. So they are always there to make sure that whenever there is a problem, definitely they will be solved. Yeah. So before I go to the next question, I know you have been a part of this huge movement. We're gonna talk about. I would like to start with this quotation from Jack Ma. So he says that if you want to grow, find a good opportunity today. If you want to be a great company, think about what social problem you could solve. So that's what Jack Ma said, right? To this Good Life Accelerator program, right? So would you like to elaborate? What is this facing a lot of different kind of problem, but still they are going ahead with their life, with their business, but how Good Life Accelerator can help them, can support them? What is it all about?
Yeah, so the Good Life Accelerator is something that started way before COVID. It was ideated somewhere in 2018, if I'm right. And we had our first cohort last year in June. So Good Life Accelerator basically is a program for startups that are working in the areas of food, agriculture, tourism, travel, wellness, and even energy, perhaps in the future, but who are working in these fields and creating some form of innovation in these areas, and also have the ability or have the potential to scale. So we're not really looking at idea-set startups, but we're looking at post-revenue startups. So companies that have generated revenue even with a single or couple of customers, but who are really solving meaningful problems. So we are looking at sustainable businesses in these particular areas. That's what the Good Life Accelerator is. And in fact, we have made a call out for our second cohort, which will begin, I think, end of this month. So the application is still live. Anybody who belongs to these categories can still apply.
So how does it work? Why?
I'm sorry, sure, but
right? Simon Sinek always says, why you have to have a okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my question was, why you have started this program, this Good Life Accelerator? What's the why behind it? What was the question? What was the why was driving you?
Sure. So we ideated this in 2018. So when I say we, Good Life Accelerator is a program that is under the SME development program of GIZ, the German Development Corporation. And a few of my colleagues and together with me, three of us actually, the dreamers, we call ourselves, really saw a massive gap, especially in across Asia, there's a lot of young energy that has so much potential and knowledge and skills in the area of technology, and now more than ever. The tech savviness in Asia is very, very high, and there's a lot of innovation happening across the region. And we also understood, working with SMEs for a very, very long time, that traditional sectors, say agriculture, food, travel of sorts, really need innovation in these sectors. There really needs to be a rapid disruption, a rapid intervention to help these traditional sectors to really, make that leap into the new world, to cater to the new consumers who are more and more conscious, who are more and more technologically oriented, who are more and more tech savvy. And the needs of the modern day society is also very wide and very complex. So we saw a very easy connection here. Technology and then traditional sector. How do we make this merge happen? How do we make the abundance resources in Asia, which is luscious greens, so much of goodness we have in our surroundings, and how do we connect the technological resources that we have in Asia together to make a better solution for us and the future generation? So this was the thinking behind the Good Life Accelerator, and even the name, Good Life. What is a good life? It is really being able to have equal opportunity to good resources, to good services, to good products and service experience, to have the ability of a wide range of such products to choose from, and to have the ability to live a healthy, clean, conscious life. And right now, what we really see is a lot of such resources are going out of Asia into the West or into developed markets in the raw form or in the bulk form, and not much value addition happens in Asia. And we really wanted to turn the tables. We can do the magic here. The magic is all in this region. So this is really an attempt to try to make it happen.
Brilliant. So how does, okay, so I understand you mentioned about Asia, right? So in Sri Lankan context, how do you think that's applicable? How the Sri Lankan entrepreneurs can get benefited by this program?
Basically, if you take a look at the sectors that we're trying to address,
can you repeat that three sectors? Because one of our audience, Liam, he's saying that he wants to know those three sectors you mentioned.
Sure. So it's food and agriculture, it's travel and tourism, and wellness. So yeah. And I mean, right now, this is what we are working towards. But obviously, when we have a stronger program, and when we also learn and grow, we will expand into areas even like energy, clean tech, for instance. Yeah.
Randula, you mentioned about something about agricultural sector. Good Life Accelerator has done some work. So, okay, would you like to give one or two examples what you have done?
Sure. So it's a, I mean, how the program works, Sure, is it's a 4-month program, and we have experts from Europe who are working with us, who curates this program. So what happens when an applicant gets selected, we have a very strict criteria of selection. There's a couple of rounds of interviews, for instance, and there's a long application process. And if they get selected, they get into the program, and we help handhold in building the business or in crafting the business towards its journey of growth. So it's almost like us being a team member in their startup for those 4 months until they reach a point that they want to reach. And this also gives an opportunity for these startups to scale out to other markets very easily, to Europe, because we have partners who are already working with us to open doors there, right? So this includes market intelligence, branding, packaging, all of these insights that you normally wouldn't have as a Sri Lankan entrepreneur. So if I may give an example, we worked with 6 startups last year. One is Honest Greens, one is Kimbula Kithul. So these 2 very different startups. Honest Greens have urban agriculture. I mean, I'm sure most of the audience would have tried their products. They provide very nice variety of salads that's all grown in a controlled environment through AI technology. If you haven't tried it, try it. It's amazing. And then Kimula Kithul is the purest form of very high-end Kithul treacle you can find in Sri Lanka. And these are very two different products, both in the food and agriculture sector. And Urban Agri or Honest Greens found a very interesting mentor who spoke to them through our German connections, who was a similar company that's a very large scale supplier in Germany, and they could really reinvent or even streamline their technology a lot better to create more scale. So they got technological advancements through those mentorship strategies and objectives. And then Kimula Kithul, on the other hand, she also visited the Biofach trade fair earlier this year, and she got to meet a few potential partners and buyers that she can work with, but also she got market intelligence as to how her branding, her packaging, for instance, the bottle, the cap, all of this will be practically applicable in that market. How an European buyer would see this bottle as opposed to a Sri Lankan buyer. So what is Kithul treacle to us will probably look like sauce to them if we send it in a particular bottle. And this we wouldn't, an entrepreneur wouldn't know until they really hit the market there. So we kind of cut that process learning curve short and try to make these learning experiences through pairing up with potential partners and even experts who are working with us through the accelerator.
Wow. So this is now that market intelligence, it's money cannot buy. I mean, that is something so valuable. And
Absolutely.
So she's able to export it to Germany now at this point. What is she doing? Is she exporting to Germany right now? Or
well, unfortunately, COVID happened.
Which stage she's on right now?
Unfortunately, COVID happened. But she is working with a few restaurants. But she's now actively seeking out a partnership with the UK, I know. And she would very much expand into that market.
Yeah, I would say it in a different way. Fortunately, COVID happened, so she can do a little bit more market research, and she can go into the market even more effective way. Okay, yeah. So go ahead. You're saying something.
No, I was about to say, I mean, it all depends on how you really react to the challenge. You can say, okay, COVID happened, all my plans are gone adrift now, or you can take time to really, adapt and innovate and see, are you still willing to buy my product? Are you going to buy it differently? How can I still make it work? And I think Chanchala or Kimula Kithul is really up that alley. And
I'm sure Good Life Accelerator has supported that environment, has supported her to understand, learn, grow more as well at the same time. So this, so there's a question from Liam. So he's asking, does the program include funding also, or is it only it's only knowledge sharing? So does it provide funding?
Only knowledge sharing. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Knowledge sharing.
Yeah. So knowledge sharing can happen in very different levels. Like this is knowledge sharing, for instance. But a lot of Sri Lankans are not willing to pay for knowledge and not valuing knowledge enough. So I mean, even at Hatch, we have something called the Hatch Open House, where we are completing 100 sessions next week, which happened during the period of lockdown. So there you really get access to expert advice that you wouldn't really get in your normal life, that our previous generation of entrepreneurs didn't have, for instance. So that, I mean, the value that can add to your journey is something that money really can't buy. But the Good Life Accelerator program does have a seed fund, a very small fund. It's not even something that's considered as an investment, but it really is pocket money or pizza money, we call it in accelerator terms, to help a startup really fund their needs operationally during the 4-month course where they are spending time with us. So it's a very small amount, and it's also not a direct grant that will be given in form of money, but it will be contracts that are directly paid by the accelerator for any services we think that is necessary for them to kind of attain in order for their businesses to grow after an evaluation levels.
Right. So it's a combination of knowledge and funds both. But then again, I think the learning environment helps a lot.
Yes, it is 90% learning and really recreating and crafting your business. So it's not about really us telling you what to do, but doing it with you. So it's really a lot of handholding.
I love the fact what you mentioned, that it's not doing it for you, but doing it with you. I mean, that shows a lot of support. So Hasini is asking, a little bit deviating on this subject. She's asking, what is your thought about entrepreneurship?
Well, entrepreneur, a name is a name is a name. Right. But I really believe that both of these things are very similar, because for me, entrepreneurship is not about a skill set. It really predominantly is also a mindset. How you approach problems, how you take on challenges, how you go through a certain challenge and solve it. And you have a lot of entrepreneurial people within organizations as well, who are not founders, who are not business owners, who don't have their own product line, but who are really actively working towards the growth of the business or disrupting that business as they go, to reinvent that business. And those are who we try to call entrepreneurs. And I would like to go to a very recent example. We had hosted a discussion with Anjali. She's the CEO of Vimeo. I'm deeply inspired by her talk because she was part of the marketing team in Vimeo before she embraced the role of the CEO. And she was an entrepreneur at her core, or came into the business with an entrepreneurial mentality and really changed the whole game of Vimeo by reinventing the whole company strategy. So I really think both of these are very similar type of people who go into something with the growth mentality, who are not restricted by fear, who are not restricted by challenges, but are really open to adapting and are really there to make things happen.
Brilliant. Yeah, so actually at the end of the day, it's all about mindset, right? That's what you're saying, that, okay, it doesn't matter, is it entrepreneur or entrepreneur, but as long as you take action and have a positive mindset, definitely you will see a positive outcome. I know I am stating the obvious, but then again, easier said than done. You know, very easy to say, okay, positive thinking. But when you really put in action, then you see the result outcome, you know, how it. And I simply love the fact that the positivity, the positive sharing, what you're doing. And I'm simply in love with this program, Good Life Accelerator, because I can see there's a huge contribution can be done in the entrepreneurial realm for sure. And this will definitely help a lot of entrepreneurs to have that environment so that they know that they are not alone. And then the example what you've given, the lady who has, who's about to export her product to Europe. I mean, the knowledge she has gained out of this program, it's brilliant. Right?
I wouldn't take it all for the GLX program. It's not fair. I think as an entrepreneur, Chanchala is really a hard persevering woman, and she really knows what she's doing. So we only help people who are able to embrace it and really take that opportunity by the reins and just push forward. The program is what each person makes out of it. So we try to choose the best people.
So basically, you hold the space entrepreneur to grow, a natural growth, so that you can support them. Okay, great. So good to know. I mean, there you go, Chanchala. So you have been complimented by the program director. So
come on, of course, these are brilliant people.
Yes, of course. Great. So you were mentioning that about joining the program. So anybody can join, anybody can apply. What is the selection criteria? What are
Yes, so for the accelerator program, the selection criteria is simply you have to belong to these sectors that I mentioned: food, agriculture, travel, tourism, or wellness. It's not for the accelerator program is not for mature companies, so it is for startups. The small amount of workforce within first few years of inception, but post revenue. So we're not looking at idea stage companies because we are also trying to help these companies go outside of Sri Lanka to help them scale. And idea stage really is not ready yet to get accelerated in their journey. So we whoever who applies like that, we advise them to always go to a few incubation programs or meet a few mentors and get their ball rolling, because we also want to attract people who've been through that learning curve a little bit, who are serious about what they're doing and are committed to their cause. Because it is also a lot of resources we put into it, a lot of experts who come into it believing in Sri Lanka and the entrepreneurs here. I mean, it's amazing the feedback that we get from the mentors that comes in. We had a few mentors coming in from the APX accelerator in Berlin. That's the accelerator hosted by Porsche Springer. It's called APX, and a few professionals from the European Business School. A few such people like that, and they're always moved really by the grit and the energy of Sri Lankan entrepreneurs, and never has a person gone away without wanting to come back. So I think our country is made not only of natural charm, but of amazing entrepreneurial personalities who just tend to inspire all those people who come to help them. So it's very fulfilling work.
It is. I can relate to that. What you said just now. I mean, definitely. Most of my friends, when they come to Sri Lanka, until they come to Sri Lanka, oh, okay, Sri Lanka, okay, go there. But once they come here and spend time with us, they don't want to leave. They're like, oh, okay, okay, when can I come back again? So, especially my European friends, and then even countries like Singapore and other places, when they come to visit Sri Lanka and we spend time with us, it's like, wow, what a brilliant country. Because Sri Lanka itself has so much to offer, so much of warmth to offer, so much of resources to offer, right? So world must know this beautiful island. And your program would definitely make sure that it will put us into the world map, which is already done, right? So now a lot of people are asking, actually, Leon is asking that how we can be a part of this, right? Part of this program. So I will share the detail on the chat box right now. So there are some websites. So you must go and visit the website, Good Life Accelerator. I was going through it, and I believe the website itself has so much of resources, like the articles that you have, right? There was an article from Dilma. There was an article from how to invest in agriculture. There's an article of how to transform, how digital transformation will impact this in this country. And so it was brilliant. And some of the live program you have put in there, so people can just go and listen and learn from it. I mean, this is brilliant. So I've shared the detail, the website and the Facebook page and the Instagram handle as well. Please go ahead and visit. And so if anybody would like to apply for this, you are saying that they can go to the website and then download the form and they can apply for it. Am I correct?
Yes, sure. So not the form is not downloadable. It's electronic form. So you can just fill it. You can just click on it and fill it. It'll probably take 15-20 minutes to apply. We also, I mean, most of the content, thank you for your compliments. I'll share it with my team. It's very, very much appreciated. Most of the content that you're seeing on the website, the articles and all of this is also as a result of a program that we launched during, I think, the 3rd week of lockdown. It's called Stay Good in Business, especially to help sustainable businesses who were really taking a massive hit because of COVID. So a lot of businesses in the sustainable sector are supporting resilient communities and don't have such massive reserves for a longer extended runway? And how do we really build resilience among these people who are not able to reinvent themselves so fast and adapt or have so much of reserves like larger corporations? So this is what we try to address through the Stay Good in Business program. And again, like I said, one of the biggest challenges we had really was working with a group of people who were committed to the cause, who were still having their daily motivation issues. You're stuck at home. It's curfew. You don't have your usual friends and food, and resources to work with. There's power cuts. All of this, and this amazing team of 5 people got together and made this happen. And I'm tremendously blessed to have that team working with me.
Brilliant! Wow, teamwork is always important. It's a good example for that. So, okay, Hasini is asking one question. I know we've been touching on to this Good Life Accelerator a lot. So, in a different perspective, how important is it for an entrepreneur to have a mentor? Is it important?
Have a
mentor?
A mentor.
Yes.
I think it's important. I think it's really important for anybody to have a mentor to begin with. I think this question was asked. We have, so Hatch has a program called, pardon my French, a program called Fuck Up Fridays. And we're having that session this Friday.
Brilliant,
yes.
Very nice. I love the name though.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
What attracted me to the name, that's why I've gone there.
Yeah, I'm glad. I had a few emails the first few sessions when we launched last year, saying we don't want this word in our inbox. I'm like, I'm sorry, deal with it, but I'll add a apostrophe next time.
I remember, Inosh is the one who shared it with me. So
sure, yeah. So we hosted together with Inosh. I mean, Hatch has been.
The day I went, Imran and then Yusra, and there was one more gentleman. 3 of them were talking that day. It was.
Yes. So we have it monthly. Exactly.
Yes.
So I mean, Hatch has been an amazing place for me also to gain a lot of insights and experience during the past year and a half, really. So during Fuck Up Fridays, I think somebody asked this question from Indy Samarajiva, the founder of Yamu, whether he would have liked to have had a mentor. Or even have a sharing session like this to learn from his mistakes when he started. And he's like, absolutely yes. And I've been hearing this quite a lot from a lot of entrepreneurs, especially also because we are, like I said, Hatch is hosting a mentorship program called Hatch Open House. We have a pool of 30 plus mentors, local and international. We have sessions every week. We're hitting the 100th session landmark next week, conducted during the period of COVID. And it's, I think, very important to have a mentor to kind of give you a reality check, to kind of help you learn from past learnings and experiences. There's no need to really reinvent the wheel over and over again. But that said, I think there's no better learning than learning on your own with your own hands. So when you work with a mentor, it's always good to get a lot of clarity about your direction and about where to look, where to go. But I think it's also important that you invent your own way through that advice. So, I mean, it won't make an entrepreneur if you're really listening to somebody and, acting according to such instructions. It's always about making your own way. But getting advice, I mean, in anybody's hero journey, you meet sages, you meet teachers, you meet peers, and mentors are that. So it's really a great thing to have a mentor for sure.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's what I can see. Thank you for that answer. And we entrepreneurs, they think that they're driven by significance most of the time, and they think, okay, I will do it my way or highway, either way it is, right? But then mentorship, it helps you to learn, accelerate the learning, right? So you don't have to invent the wheel by yourself, right? And then so that really helps, definitely. Okay, great. So, okay. Hey, she's online.
Hey,
So
Naresh.
he's saying 100 points for shout out for, the Fucker Fridays, what you mentioned. So he's saying 100 points to that. Yay. Okay, great. Okay. So, thank you, for joining us. I can see Sandun is also with us, Sandun Fernando.
Oh, hey,
So he's
Sanun.
good chat, Randula and Shuvo. Thank you, Sandun. Great, brilliant. So, my last question, Randula. So,
Yes.
what advice you will give to entrepreneurs who are listening, who are listening? Sorry. So, what advice would you give the entrepreneurs who are listening? It can be a solopreneur, entrepreneur, startups, but with your wealth of experience working with different entrepreneurs, what would you tell them?
I think I wouldn't call it advice. I would really say I'm sharing my own learnings of what I've seen, what I've experienced with my own hands. It's really the most important thing is that you don't get stuck in your own head, and also you don't get stuck in the conventional. Um, it's always good to invent your path, question the status quo, and figure out a new way to do something if you are facing a bottleneck, and never be afraid to try new things out and fail fast, which is really very important. This is also why Hatch was able to kick off so many programs. Within it's very short lifespan of 1.5 years. We have 2 accelerators and 3 incubator programs, and all of this done by a team who've not done this before. Why? Because we were willing to try, we were willing to learn, we were willing to fail, and we did very many times. And also, it's very important. This is something I always say: everybody has something to teach you, and all of us have things to learn from everybody else. So it's really very important that we are willing to listen, not to respond, but really to learn. And that's the best way to reinvent yourself, and to keep pushing forward. So yeah, I think that's advice I would give myself if I am in any kind of tough situation.
Thank you for that brilliant advice, because learning is the key. So learning, when you learn, you never fail. There is no failure to it. And when you fail, we fail forward, right?
Yeah.
As Colin says. So yeah. So I love that advice what you gave, because when you have a learning mindset, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're failing or succeeding, right? That's what is very important, right? Thank you so much for that wisdom that you have shared, which you would give yourself. I like the way you delivered it. You said, "Okay, that's the advice I'm going to give it to myself." So by listening to it, you know that, okay, so you're not advising the audience, but you're advising to yourself, but you directly
I
you're telling
mean,
you do it.
we're all walking each other home, aren't we?
Yeah. But having said that, I simply love it. Simply love what you're doing, Randula. This is just the beginning of a huge transformation which is yet to come, right? And your good luck with your Good Life Accelerator program. And you are doing a massive work in massive work. Okay, there's one more question. Shall I ask you the question before I
Of
finish?
course, go for it.
Nishanta Delgoda. So he said, why should an entrepreneur diversify? And is it possible to develop skills of different business?
Of course. I mean, learning never stops. Why it's important to diversify? I think it depends on your industry. It depends whether you're diversifying the same company or a line of production or your own skills, for that matter. But learning something new, trying out something new, is definitely it's always improvement. It's self-improvement. It's company improvement, and that is also a trial for you to kind of prove to yourself of your adaptability. A great example really is Yohobed. I always take them as one of the greatest examples of startups who responded so well and adapted so well during the COVID crisis. They're a hospitality sector startup. They went into diversifying or reinventing the hospitality service that they first offered during the first few weeks of COVID. Don't work from home. If you don't have AC and internet, all of that, come to a room and work from a room. So they converted the room into office space with internet and all of that. And then when the lockdown happened, they shifted gears right into really facilitating the need of the people to get access to goods and services, groceries. And that's a shift, that's a massive shift. And after opening up, now they're providing office shuttles. This is like during 10 to 12 weeks, that's 3 times of reinventing themselves. And diversification or trying things out at the right time, I think would only build skills of an entrepreneur and of a brand to really be able to adapt to changing market scenarios and situations. But also you shouldn't, no one should really do it for the sake of doing it. Everything should have meaning for your brand, for your profit margins, and for your customer base. Or your product line overall. So these are decisions that you really have to make after revisiting what your structure looks like and what your model looks like right now and what problem you're trying to solve in your business overall. So it's an interesting question to ask yourself if you're in the right place, right time, with the right product in hand.
Got it. Brilliant. Okay, I love the answer, and this that covers every aspect of it, the diversification. I love the example as well, how that business has changed the changed the business model for 3 times. I mean, this is quite inspiring. Okay, one last question. Okay, because the audience is asking, I don't want to, because this is real value what you're giving. Okay, Sayandan, Teru Sayandan. So Sayandan is a good friend. So he's actually the first. He was the first one we interviewed in this program. So
I see. Okay.
So he's asking, one who is having a steady job, how to overcome the fear element for a new startup, losing all legacy you have built for so long. Okay.
It's the all-time favorite question. Absolutely. I mean, nobody should really do it for the sake of doing it. The job or becoming an entrepreneur. You really, really should do it if you really want to do it, and if you really know that this is the time that you want to make the shift. Most of us in making such hard decisions, I mean, it's sure, especially in Sri Lanka, it's a difficult thing to say no to a 6-figure salary, constant income, especially if you have family, or if you have if you're 22 years old and you have conventional parents who don't want you to go into anything of like doing a business, because you might not end up having anyone to marry. Right? These are the problems that us Asians face, rather than people in the Silicon Valley or in the West. So there's a lot of things at play, the culture as well as the financial stability. But when you get the calling, when you know that you're done of being an employee, of reporting to somebody, or of working for a cause that really does not make sense to you, and you see the calling to really solve a meaningful problem, or to build something that is of your own, and say, this is my design and this is what I did and this is the achievement of my life, you wouldn't think twice than to jump into it. Getting into entrepreneurship is also a lot to do with taking risks. So it's not for everybody. If you're keeping one foot here and one foot there, it's always good to be safe. I mean, we have a lot of good examples even in the world of people who started off by having a full day job or two full-time jobs while trying to save to build your business. But you're always keeping that job because you want to build a safety net, or build some kind of runway for the business that you're trying to work towards. So there's different reasons at play as to why you are keeping your job, and there's nothing wrong in being an employee and keeping a job while you're trying to build your own business. But getting out of that mindset of letting go of a paycheck and that stability and that legacy is won't be a question for an entrepreneur who's ready to jump into it. So it's almost like marriage. Am I going to let go of my freedom of being a bachelor, and am I going to settle for the family life? Or it's almost like having a kid. You'll know when you're ready.
Okay. So anyhow, no matter what, if you're ready, then you go ahead and take that action, right? So
exactly.
Okay, great. Okay, so Enos is asking a question. Think of the startups. No, it's not a question. I think think of the startup as your new legacy.
Yeah.
What you did before will become insignificant. Right?
Exactly. So like I said, this is my design. This is what I built, right?
Great. Thank you, Enos, for that value addition. Okay, great. So I had to ask those two questions because that's why real talk with Shuvo, because I believe, giving value to the audience and what you have been giving is simply gold. Thank you so much, Randula, for being with us this evening. I simply enjoyed it, and I love what you do. And I have shared the Good Life Accelerator program detail in the chat box. Please go ahead and see, explore the possibility, and go and see how it is. Now, Randula strictly told me it's not a promotion of Good Life Accelerator. She actually
because you got so excited about it. I'm like, let's not.
What you're doing is helping the entrepreneurs, because being an entrepreneur is not easy. The moment you get up in the morning and going to bed, until that you're thinking that how I can improve the society. Let's improve my business. That means that business will have a positive impact, value addition. So every entrepreneur, when they get up in the morning, it may look like they're doing it for making money. Yes, there are, but what they do is, at the end of the day, is creating value for themselves and value for the society. So entrepreneurship is always something challenging, and it builds you as a person. So I believe Good Life Accelerator is the program which will help the entrepreneurs to support that and grow in an accelerated way. So that's why I love talking about it.
And just to add to that, sure. Thank you for having me, and thank you for being so excited about the Good Life Accelerator. I mean, it really inspires me to continue to push through and do what we're trying to do. Sure. But I think about Hatch also. You mentioned that it's a co-working space, but it's a lot more than that. Right. We are a space for.
You there? Sorry, I've been to Hatch, and I feel, my opinion is, Hatch is more than a co-working space.
It's not a co-working space. I never call it that.
When you walk in, you don't feel like that you're walking into a co-working space.
So just to also add to that.
Yeah. So yeah, please. Sorry, you are the CEO. Yes,
no problem. Yes, thank you. So Hatch, exactly. One element of it is obviously co-working, yes. But it's also our main business model. But also the space is built as a home for hungry entrepreneurs to grow, and it hosts and curates similar accelerator programs. Hatch X is one such accelerator program that we actually kicked off during the second week on 23rd of April during the COVID lockdown for fintech startups. We have 8 fintech startups going through our accelerator program right now, and we have international experts working with them. And this really is to also, again, solve critical problems in the fintech landscape of Sri Lanka. We have 3 incubator programs. One is the open house, Hatch Open House, and please visit Hatch's Facebook page if you want to sign up. We have a pool of 30 plus mentors there. We have a maker space. It's called the Hatch Maker Studio. That's something I'm very proud of because the maker culture is not so big here in Sri Lanka. And this gives the ability for any entrepreneur to really prototype their product and test their product in a very lean and agile way. So we have 3D printers, laser cutters, and a maker in residence who can really help you improve your product design and all of that as well. And we have a kick-ass, it's a boot camp called Hatch Kick-Ass. It's a program for female entrepreneurs, specifically for women who are idea stage or very early startup, in a very early startup stage, who want to really, work together in that journey with their peers, because being a female entrepreneur, especially in Sri Lanka, comes with a lot of other issues of mindset to culture to everything. So this program includes, one stream is business acumen. How do you build your startup? The other is, as a woman, how do you negotiate? How do you build your confidence? How do you break those ceilings? So this is all that Hatch does. So it's definitely not just a co-working space.
Wow, brilliant! Thank you so much for sharing that. Brilliant, and I believe I don't know what the men think. Women are multitaskers, so they are better entrepreneurs than men. Okay, there is it. I said it.
Thank you. I'm not going to say anything to that, but thank you for saying it.
Great. Thank you so much, Randula, for being here and sharing your valuable time with us and the value that you've given to our audience. And so we would any support you require from our side, please let us know. I already can think some of my entrepreneurs friends where I can recommend this program, Good Life Accelerator, and send them to FinTech. Immediately, I can think one of my friends who was actually FinTech at this point, so I will definitely introduce her to you, right? So like that, thank you for being such a force for good and creating such a positive impact, positive environment for all the entrepreneurs around you, be it a solopreneur or a startup or a SME, the situation you're creating, the environment you're creating, it's really commendable. Thank you so much for being so awesome. Great.
And thank you, Shuvo, for having me and for being yourself and for being my friend for so many years, and for inspiring all the people that you're inspiring. Thank you so much.
It's very important to have friends like you in life so that you can have
yourself.
Okay, great. So, dear audience, thank you so much for being here and asking all these questions. And when you ask questions only, we're able to share with you. And we're very happy that we're able to talk to Randula and her views of it. And then, helping entrepreneurs in a different way. Now, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential power. So since we have this knowledge right now, what action you're going to take, which is very important, right? So my request to you, my invitation to you, that since you have the knowledge right now, take that action. Take that action, and then make sure that you're able to take your business to the next level, take your society to the next level, take yourself to the next level, right? With that, look out for we will be doing all our real talk with Shuvo every Wednesday, 7:30 from now on. And next week, we are having an international digital marketer, Saurav Jain. He's very well known in Sri Lanka as well. So he has done a lot of work in digital marketing, and there are a lot of transformation happening. So we wanted to bring him in our session next Wednesday. Please look out for that. So with that, I would like to finish with a quotation of Walt Disney. He says that all our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. So my friends, my audience, my invitation to you, pursue your dream. Do not stop dreaming. Pursue your dream, take action, and you make it happen. And you will see your environment will automatically be positive to support you so that your dream will become reality. With that, this is Shuvo signing off. I will see you on next Wednesday. Have an awesome week ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Randula.
Thank you, Shuvo. Bye-bye.